Sorcerous Stabber Orphen is the anime series that I hold closest to my heart, and I was over the moon when Studio Dean's 2020 reboot was initially announced. The first season came and went in the winter season of anime releases in the early part of 2020. Less than a year later, we are blessed with the follow-up season titled Battle for Kimluck. As part of the series release, I'm going to be doing reviews of episodes of Season 2, but also arc reviews of Season 1 to get people up to speed. So without any more delay, let's jump into this review of Episode 1 of Battle for Kimluck, titled Say My Will, Demon King. We open within the interior of the Kimluck Church, which is where we will see most of this season set. An unknown voice regales us with some interesting exposition to set us up on what the story may revolve around, saying, "It has already been 200 years since I had seen the hole in the barrier created by the founding sorcerers of the dragon species, and had become the founding sorcerer of the human species, creating the Kimluck Church. We await to be served." This is quite an exciting tease because it gives us a little bit of a glimpse into the lore that this character is a part of. Not only are they part of the foundation of sorcery, but also the foundation of the Kimluck Church, and that makes me really excited to see what we're going to see as the series goes on. As the shot dramatically pans away to reveal the church, we then cut away to Vulcan and Dorton, who are apparently working in an inn, listening to a group of people discussing a nearby theatre that was built 200 years ago. One of the main members of the group explains that this may be the most dangerous mission they've ever faced, and that anyone is welcome to not come along if they are afraid. All the while, we see this character slowly suiting up, ready for battle. She then gives a call to action, and tells us the name of the location this episode will revolve around: the Kamisunda Theatre. We then get our first look at the brand new opening track of the new series, Light of Justice by Shotaro Morikubo. And boy, did they nail this. The beat and shredding guitars remind me of a heavier version of Dragon Ball Super's Limit Breaker opening, and it just slaps. It might have even taken the place of my favorite opening ever, and at the same time it's a wonderful departure from the lukewarm opening and ending that we got in Season 1. To me, this is a huge deal. Another thing to note during the opening is the updated art. As I mentioned in my previous review, the first series opening and ending both featured a number of quite cheap shots, which is more a symptom of the bigger issue of budgeting than anything else. Through the smooth intro to Orphen's character features and the fully detailed training and fight montages, we get a really strong opening that illustrates an improvement in quality across the board. Personally, I'm really excited by this because it means that they paid attention to their shortcomings in the first season and are now going to try and correct those with the season going forward. Anime needs a good opening. It needs it. It's part of the lifeblood of the anime community. Season 1 just didn't quite do it for me, but this is way better. After the badass intro, we get our first scene with our protagonist group. Orphen, Magic, and Cleo are arguing over who deserves the last piece of meat. The conversation evolves into Orphen calling the other two burdens and accusing Cleo of being the worst cook ever, with her soup actively knocking Orphen and Magic unconscious for hours. This conversation works really well as one of the more light-hearted scenes, but also as exposition to tell us where the characters' relationships are at this point in the story. These scenes can get a little bit tedious, so I'm hoping there aren't too many of these as the series goes on. We get interrupted by the ensuing battle that's taking place at the Kamisunda Theatre, where the group of bandits are fighting off a group of flying rat dog creatures. We see Medchen, the badass woman from earlier, stab one through the gut as one of their group dies from his wounds. Suddenly, an enormous killing doll from Season 1 appears and winds up to strike. Before we can see any more, we return to a more escalated version of the great meat debate happening back at camp. As Orphen and Cleo bicker, Magic considers taking the food, but the two stop their bickering to eye him down, making him so scared that he forgoes his share of the remaining meat. Orphen seems just about ready to blast this girl in the face. I don't know what she thinks she's gonna do. He will literally destroy you. In the face. This tension is immediately broken by a scream of pain. Orphen tries to say that he doesn't want to help as he just wants some peace and quiet. This thought is interrupted by Cleo scoffing the final ration and Orphen going absolutely batshit. He even tries to attack her with a spell, but Magic holds him back, saying, "You can't use sorcery over a piece of jerky!" I actually really laughed at this scene because the acting and the dynamic between the three characters was spot on. Cleo raises the point that the shrieking person may give them more food if they save them, upon hearing which Orphen springs immediately into action, saying, "Don't just stand there, let's go!" I may be a simple man at giggling at that, but it's funny. Orphen has always had a very long history of actually having really good comedic timing and jokes, so I'm really glad to see some of that coming back in this season. As they approach approach the theatre, Cleo sees another bat dog rat munching on a corpse in a tree and screams, before Orphen downs it instantly with a spell. The three head further towards the theatre and jump in to help one of the last remaining bandits. He begs them to save their boss Medchen, who is inside, before he flees in terror, only to be carried off by another dog, bird, rat, mouse. As the trio are surrounded, one monster tries diving for Cleo, who is instantly disintegrated by the deep dragon magic from Lecky. This is really important because it's our first display in the second season of the sheer difference between human vocal sorcery and the magic used by the dragon races. Orphen just about dispatches the monster, whereas Lecky absolutely obliterates it. I think this is going to be an important theme going forward, which is why they focused on that so much. Orphen yells for them to run to the door before protecting it with an enormous shield of amber spell as they seal it off. Orphen lights up the theatre with another spell and walks up to a shrine in the middle of the room. He notices that they are statues of an angel and devil, and states that these are Swedenborg's angel and devil. Now we're getting into the kind of thing that I adore in these series more than anything: deep lore. Orphen reminds Magic and Cleo of what he explained in the last season, that the 6 dragon races stole the power of the gods and fled to Midgard. But there was one god that didn't have their secrets stolen: Swedenborg, the supreme ruler of all creation, who sounds a lot like a Yu-Gi-Oh card. He apparently tried to make himself the only god, and was referred to as the God-Slayer Demon King, and the angel and demon statues served him. Apparently, the Kimluck Church also considers him taboo. Orphen then muses as to why Swedenborg's statues are in a theatre that wasn't on a map. Like I said, this is my favourite kind of thing in these series, when they go into a deep background story like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, and I think Sorcerous Stab Orphen has a really rich backstory that's worth exploring. In fact, on that note, I'm in the process of writing and recording a video on the deep history of sorcery within the world of Sorcerous Stabber Orphen. In that video, I'm going into way more detail than what the anime has vaguely touched upon, going into other source material like the manga and the light novels, so if that's the kind of video that would interest you, be sure to subscribe, because it's going to be a good one. We then see that Vulcan and Dorten have found their way to the theatre, hoping to plunder it for treasure. However, Azalee appears behind them and tells them it's too dangerous and that they'll end up like that guy if they do go in. More importantly, Orphen is in there. Vulcan decides to leave, as whenever Orphen is nearby, trouble isn't much further behind. When Dorten turns back to look at Azalee, he sees that she's gone, and wonders aloud who she might have been. Now, she was the person at the end of Series 1 who told Orphen to meet her in Kimluck, so the fact that she's here way before Kimluck is quite interesting, because it shows that despite everything that they've been through in the 5 years gap, she still cares very much about Orphen, even if she is being a bit vague about her true intentions. We cut back to Orphen et al. In the theatre, with Magic asking if Cleo can get Lecky to teleport them out. However, she says that Lecky is unreliable, and whenever she asks for something, it always ends up different. This is quite a good way of fixing a get-out-of-jail-free card of having a dog that can literally set anything on fire with its thoughts. They enter the room we initially saw the bandits scuffling in, with Orphen saying that there's a barrier there made from sorcery, and that there's probably some weird glyphs in there somewhere, which are runes used for defense. Orphen surmises that all this means they must be in Nornir ruins, with Magic reminding Cleo and the audience that they were the Celestials and the second most powerful dragon race. Moreover, they were the only ones who wanted to protect humans. Orphen says if these are Nornir ruins, it's bad news, because Nornir ruins have guardians ordered to eliminate any intruders and says they're not safe there. Orphen also considers whether this place was concealed to the royal family, who famously hate sorcerers, and if Nornir artifacts were taken from inside to be studied. He compares it to what Azalee and Childman did in episode 14 of season 1 in Fort Basilatris, mentioning that they even found Sister Ersiva's grave there. Magic asks what they normally find in these ruins, and Orphen tells him that they're simply Nornir artifacts, but they don't know if the Nornir use them every day or not. But what they do know is that some of them have deadly effects on humans. Again, more interesting world building and lore. Bene. Suddenly, a bandit is blasted through a wall from which emerges the Killing Doll, who immediately clocks Orphen and the others. Before it has time to react, Medchen stabs it through the gut and runs to check on Fredin. However, the doll gets straight back up. She yells over to Orphen to help, and Cleo chastises her for being rude. Orphen notices that this doll wasn't made for fighting, because a Killing Doll wouldn't have missed fighting a bandit. Orphen's suspicions are confirmed when the doll scoops up Fredin and legs it back through the wall. Despite Orphen's warnings, the four give chase, and Medchen takes a massive chunk out of the doll's midriff. Before they get a chance to react, the doll activates weird glyphs to transfer the wound over to Fredin, who immediately starts to cough up blood before plummeting through a trapdoor into darkness. As Med-Chen prepares to climb down, Orphen mentions her crew are dead, and that he's here to help her. She comes across as very cold, and she seems very determined to go down after Fredin and maybe even find a way out, all of which Orphen is very cautious of. Orphen asks why she's so insistent to go down there, and Med-Chen tells him to mind his own business. Cleo responds to her rudeness again, and says that she can do whatever she wants, asking why they bothered helping her, mentioning they could have gotten hurt on their way to Kimluck. Hearing this, Med-Chen questions how a sorcerer intends to get into Kimluck unseen, as they won't take kindly to a sorcerer just waltzing through the front door. As she grew up near there, Med-Chen says that she will help them get into Kimluck if they will help her rescue Fredin, to which Orphen reluctantly agrees. She also has one additional request, which is for Orphen to carry her down because she's piss scared of heights. Brilliant. We then get our ending sequence with Marionette Coup d'etat by Mai Fuchigame, which ironically is already off to a far better start than the last ending. This ending does suffer a bit from laziness on the animation side, with some shots lasting way too long and some easy motion tweening for some other sequences, but generally it's a pretty good outro. Not my favourite, but better. We then get the preview of next week's episode, which features a massive killing doll and potentially an even deeper dive into the lore of the Nornir and maybe even Swedenborg. For the episode that kicks off a new season, I think Studio Dean did a really good job with this. From the actual laugh-out-loud moments to the deep dive into the lore of the world that the show is set in, and all the lovely new art that comes with it, this has made me so excited for the rest of the season, and I really hope you guys feel the same. If you guys would like to see more reviews like this, I highly recommend that you subscribe to the channel. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to be doing every episode of Season 2, and I'm also going to be doing arc reviews of various episodes in Season 1 to get everyone up to speed. On top of that, I've got plans to do the video essays in various lore topics. I'm really excited to get that content made, so I highly recommend you subscribe if those things sound interesting to you. Also, if you did enjoy this, I would highly encourage you guys to come and join us over at twitch.tv/GameHogGames. We stream 4 days a week over there, and we have a wonderful community, and it would be lovely to have some of you there. And more importantly, to tie it into this, it's got Sorcerous Stabber Orphen stream alerts. If that's not enough to coax you back, then I don't know what is. All that aside, let me know what you guys thought of the episode, because I really want to create a dialogue about this series and all the twists and turns that happen throughout it. What did you think of the new art? Did you like the new opening? What do you expect the series to cover? Let me know all of it in the comment section below. Thanks very much for watching this review, and we will see you in the next Orphen video. Take care, a-byesies.